Hello, everyone. Golden
Hello.
is back on your screens and back in your beautiful earlobes
We've been
once more.
away. Um, so the reason that we've just started out of nowhere, although you don't know that, is Jamie was just telling me his new audio setup, and I didn't want to, I wanted to
Yes,
react to it live on stream,
I've come up
live
with
on
a
stream.
beautiful system where I have taken off my dressing down and draped it over my laptop and my head in order to create an enclosed space. So my audio should hopefully be less echoey. It's quite uncomfortable because I'm leaning down and because I'm now in nothing but my boxer shorts. But other than that, it's working out great.
So I'm trying to visualize this. You're sitting in your chair, and you have
Yes,
you have your laptop on your
my laptop's
desk,
on my desk,
and you,
and
you
then
have
my
a
dressing
you have a
down.
dressing gown over your head and over your laptop, and
Yes,
you're hunched over your desk with that
very hunched
set
over. My
up.
neck is going to be very sore. But
What if what if your family walks in?
my family aren't here anymore. Remember, I can
Oh,
explain
of
such
course.
things. I
Shit,
murdered them. Remember?
I remember.
I told you.
Of course, because have you got earphones in as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I was thinking they could walk in and you wouldn't even detect them. They could just go about your room, but they're not here. Um,
They're in my basement,
they're in your basement in France.
in
Dogs.
pieces.
Is that dogs? Is that dogs?
Yes.
So why did we not record last week, Jamie?
Because you were away, and unlike me, when I go away, you didn't show the same dedication to the cause.
I know, because you went to France before the lockdown was lifted, actually. Did you
No,
not?
I didn't.
No,
Technically.
technically.
Well, we drove through England, and the lockdown was lifted
Yeah,
there
Jay,
because they're very happy.
I'm joking. I'm joking,
So
man.
it's fine.
I know you're being very responsible. You are being responsible. I just want to clarify, Jimmy is being responsible. But yeah, Jimmy was in France. He didn't want to stay on the podcast, but now I've been abroad in the Netherlands, and I'm back. So I
Yes.
feel like
Or Holland, as anyone sensible would call it. Take
I
back
was
that
technically in Holland. I was
word.
in South Holland, though, Jimmy, not North Holland.
It's all Holland.
Always has been.
Oh, yeah.
um, what? Yeah, I was in the Netherlands. I like to call it the Netherlands because that's what it's called, the country. But I was technically in Holland. I was in South Holland though, and I feel like North Holland is the one that people probably think of. 'Cause that's where Amsterdam is.
Were there any windmills or casual drug use?
No casual drug
Two
use.
hallmarks.
Lots of windmills. The
Did you
drug
eat?
thing, the drug thing's interesting because it's really not a big thing apart from Amsterdam.
Yeah, well,
You're
let's say anyone who like goes to the Netherlands, especially to do drugs, will obviously just go straight to Amsterdam
yeah.
and probably not bother anyone else.
Like you're just allowed to do it. The place I went, I think they have one shop that sells it, but it was shut down or something.
Huh.
And like I did see the like drug alley where you can do drug deals and stuff. But yeah, I went to Amsterdam last year, and I mean it's pretty crazy with the drug thing. Like every window has it in it because that's a big
Hmm.
tourist thing. But in the rest of the country, it's really just
Yeah.
not a big thing. People like some people do it, some people don't. But
I gotta say, I am and remain in favor of legalization of weed, at least. But having spent the last year in a country where it is legal, I gotta say, the thing you don't realize when you're thinking about it is that it really fucking stinks. Like, just entire streets
it
smell
does.
awful
It
after
doesn't
like a
smell too
particularly
bad
big
though.
party.
Do you like the smell of it? I don't think it smells
I
too
don't.
bad.
It's the sort of thing I could get used to. It's definitely strong, though.
Oh, aye,
Uh,
definitely. Um,
but
but
yeah,
yeah,
but like particularly like after like a street party or something, it'll just be like entire streets, which just like
this is
are
true.
incredibly pungent.
This is true. Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
no, but I did not partake in any casual turkeys. I mean, you know, I'm not that kind of dude anyway, and also it really is not would not have been a big thing. It's not a big thing. Anyway, yeah. So I just got back. It was pretty interesting traveling. How did you find it?
It's weird just how
Bizarre.
quickly through an airport where there's nobody else there.
Yeah, Amsterdam
Like,
Airport was empty. So I got to Edinburgh Airport when I was
mm,
going. I got there at 3:50 something, and I
yeah,
think
yeah,
technically it wasn't open yet because I went through a sign that said no entry.
good,
And
good.
everyone else in the security was like uh, worked in security or worked in the shops or were pilots and stuff. There was no other passengers. But I just went through and I was wearing a hoodie and no one questioned me. I just went
Wow.
security as normal. But then, you know the duty free bit that you go through
Yeah, yeah.
to get to the main bit that was shut up, so I had to sit and wait. So I was
Oh
just
yeah,
sitting my own waiting there, and then there was a couple that had actually told me that it said no entry, and I'd shrugged at them and then just gone through anyway. So they came for a
all
few
right.
minutes after me and kind of were really confused as well. And then another couple blokes came through, and they went through the doors that said like no unauthorized personnel, because they were like, oh
Okay.
well, if duty free's closed, you must just go through here, and they just like barged in, and then just as they were going in there, the duty free opened. So I think I technically got into the airport before it was open.
Sweet.
Anyway, the point is the airport was very empty. I got through
Yeah.
security super quickly, but that could be because it was 3 in the morning. But then coming back through Amsterdam, which is obviously a very big airport, there was
Yeah.
no one at security there either, and
The sheeple.
that was in the middle of the day. Yeah, Schiphol,
Yeah.
Amsterdam Schiphol. So it was the middle of the day when I was there, and like the
Mm.
busiest time should have been like 3 or something, and there was no one. Straight through security, same.
Yeah.
And I like walked to the gate.
It's
It was
quite
bizarre.
nice. There's a very
Lovely.
like unique. There's a very like unique atmosphere to places that are usually filled with people being empty. Like it's the same as if you like go to like a town square in the middle of the night or something.
Yeah.
On like a Tuesday.
Exactly.
There's a great peace to it.
Um,
It's serene.
Definitely. So I've just realised we've been going for like 5 minutes and we've not introduced who
The
what
podcast, the film, or anything. Okay. This podcast is known provisionally still after 2 months as the Golden Talkies. We use it to talk about films that came out 50 years ago this week.
this week.
What's
That's right.
today's film, Dunkachino?
Today's film is Trog.
Short for troglodyte. They're
Short
very
for
tricky.
Troglodyte. Yes, Trog. When did Trog come out, Jamie?
1970. If you're going to ask me to
What
put down
date
the
did it
correct
come out,
date, I
Jamie?
don't remember. I didn't write it down.
Do you know why you don't remember?
Why? Is it one
Because
of
it
those
doesn't
ones?
say anywhere.
Oh right.
The release date on IMDb, very suspiciously, is just July 1970. And then if you click on the Wikipedia page, it says October the 24th, 1970, USA.
It does say that.
So
Well, IMDb lied to me clearly. Oh no, I'm sure it
No.
was released somehow.
IMDb says July. I assume it was released in UK in July, but it's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's a UK film.
I could not find the date.
There's a weird number of films on IMDb where they only have the release date recorded down to the month, and I don't understand how that happens.
Right,
like-
yeah.
Presumably, you either know it came out on a particular day within that month or not. You know?
You'd think so.
It's-
I guess maybe not. Oh, apparently Trog is also a maze game developed and released in arcades in 1990.
Oh yeah, I do actually think I've heard of that.
Unrelated to the film, I believe. But that just came out when I looked up Trog release date. Yeah, I can't find the
All right,
release
well,
date
whatever.
anywhere here.
IMDb said it came out this week, and we're not very careful.
And apparently, I'm looking at Amazon now, and the DVD says that it came out. Oh no, that's November 2011. Okay, I was gonna say the DVD says November, but that's when it was released on
Alright,
DVD.
so-
I don't know. Anyway, regardless,
Regardless, this is what we watched.
50 years
so-
ago, 50 years ago this week, or it could have been 50 years ago last week, but it's fine because we skipped last week because I was away, so it's fine. Anyway, that's the pre-film bit. You know what? I'll just say quickly. They have
Yeah.
really good food in the Netherlands. Not as
Oh, yeah.
not as in cuisine, just as in like the snacks and stuff you get are just so much better.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
they've got the peach Haribos. I've got a pack of peach
Oh
Haribos
yeah.
here.
Well, I mean, that's the key European.
It's
cuisine.
a European thing, yeah, but it's not something you can get here. They have this thing called vla, which is like chocolate sort of yogurt milk stuff that you have for dessert, which is great.
Cool.
They have hagelslag, which is the chocolate sprinkles that
Oh, yeah.
you know very well because we went to the Netherlands, didn't we, when we were 10?
Oh yeah,
Let's
we
go
did.
to it.
But I'll be honest, I don't remember much about that trip.
Do you remember the chocolate sprinkles? Like, because we made our own sandwiches.
No.
Um,
Oh no, yeah. My partner, as it were, my counterpart in the the Netherlands school gave me a chocolate sprinkle sandwich.
chocolate sprinkle sandwich. Yeah, so that's very tasty. Yeah, just stuff like that. It's nice. They have a lot of dairy products that vary more than ours. Anyway, I just wanted to say that while we were still, because I don't know if we'll probably get back on that topic, but just quickly, while I'm looking at my pre-film here, because look at my notes here. We've got pre-film and then we've got historical context.
Sweet.
Would you like to know the historical context?
Why not?
So
It's been a while. Catch us up with the world.
you know how last week was the first week that the film we'd watched was on the website takemeback.to.
Yes.
Today's sponsors.
Yeah.
Not today's sponsors. So actually, The Mind of Mr. Soames was on TakeMeBack.to, which was the
Oh, yeah.
alternative title for this week that we might have watched.
Yeah, we were thinking of watching that film, and then I gave the two films to you, and you made a choice, and it's on you.
It's on me. This week is on me. So I found that interesting. Trog was not on TakeMeBack.to because it didn't come out
I
this
can imagine.
month potentially. Would you like to know about the charts, Jamie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the UK charts hadn't changed much, or at all. What was it? It was on them. I can't remember.
Michael Jackson something?
No, I don't think.
Jackson 5, sorry.
The Jackson 5, I think, were in the US ones a couple of weeks back. Anyway, there was a Elvis one, The Wonder of You, and
cool.
something else. Anyway, UK ones, if you listen to the last episode, they were the same. But the US ones had a couple interesting ones in it. So number 1 was Close to You. You know that song?
I don't.
Why do birds suddenly appear?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I know it as Why Do Birds.
Yeah. I thought I would get it. Yeah, so that was number 1 in the US.
Ah, cool.
Interesting. And also in the top 10 was Signed, Sealed, Delivered by Stevie Wonder. Do you know that one?
I don't. I know Stevie Wonder.
It's
obviously.
like, Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm yours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I need you to sing the words to me.
I can't sing, but it's fine. This will be a new segment. And then topping out the top 10 was Ooh Child by the Guardians of the Galaxy band.
Yeah, I was about to say about the Galaxy soundtrack.
Ooh Child,
things are gonna get easier.
I'm sure that'll be good with
Ooh, child, things will be brighter.
I'm sure that
Someday,
little harmony.
We'll walk together and we'll see the sun.
Ooh, child, brighter. Boom, boom, boom,
right now.
I'm
hoping
sure
that gets copyrighted ID'd because that would make me feel better.
I'm also sure that will work really well. Us singing at the same time will come together and edit very well because I'm sure there's no delay at all that would affect that. Okay.
Oh, man.
Life magazine had articles about atomic bombs because it's 25 years.
Right.
25 years since they were dropped, roughly.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess it would be, wouldn't it?
It was the start of August, so they were sort of leading up to that. Yeah. So that's 75 years ago for today's audience, but 25 years ago from the 1970s audience. So that's interesting.
What a tragedy. I'm sure that the US looks back on that 25-year anniversary and, disarmed and really had a long, hard look at its relationship.
I should have looked at. I didn't even look at the article. I don't know what it would be. I don't know.
I can't imagine the article is nuclear bombs. Aren't they great?
It definitely won't be.
25 years of fun and games.
I would imagine the article is something about. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say there. How
Cuba?
they were kind of necessary at the time, or not necessary at the time.
I'm sure they'll be like, on the one hand they're bad, but
exactly.
on the other hand we have no choice. In conclusion, we're not taking a stance by.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, I think that's what it would be. Anyway, and finally there was the Chicago College All-Star Game, which seems a bit unfair. So it's an NFL game, but it's between the Super Bowl winners and the best college players.
Okay.
Which seems a little bit unfair to me. And
yeah, is that just to just give them a sense of respect?
I guess so.
They need to know how far up it goes.
I guess so, because if you think about the college seniors that are coming in, to be fair, it's the seniors, so it's people that have left. But you think about the people that are coming to the league, there's going to be like maybe 10 really good players max. But this is a whole team versus literally the best team in the adult league. So it seemed a bit unfair, and the results backed it up. They got beaten like 30-something-5, and the All-Star team had like a .28 winning percentage.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't expect like the college team to win ever.
No, I think it said that they won like 5 times out of however many games it was.
Ever, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that doesn't happen anymore, but I found that interesting. So, that is my historical context. Shall we go into your plot bit?
Okay, yeah. So this film is Trog. It sucks. This is an important fact to put across immediately. Usually, I like to. Actually, that's a complete lie. I was about to say I usually like to tease it. No, I'm usually
You
pretty up.
always go straight in with your opinion.
But this time, I mean, it sucks in an objective sense. You understand.
It's
It
just
is
not
not a
very
good.
good.
It is very poorly made. It is extremely camp. I think if you've ever seen episodes of the original series of Star Trek, or maybe sort of Tom Baker retro Doctor Who, then I would say that that's sort of the level of
To expect.
production we're dealing with here. So just to set the scene in terms of the style we're going for here. So it is sometime in the late 1960s, and you can tell, even though this film came out in the 70s, obviously, so it would be obvious anyway. Saying they got the style.
Yeah.
Three spelunkers are wandering around in the field.
That's the word I was looking for.
Just a random empty English field. And they find a cave, which apparently no one's ever discovered
One
before.
of them finds. So they're walking. I mean, I think it's important that we make it clear they're walking along a very open moor, and there's like a little
very
bush.
well cultivated farmland.
Well cultivated farmland.
Wild or anything like that.
There's maybe a couple of bushes, and then behind the bush there's a giant cave opening that apparently not one person has ever seen or set foot in.
Well, they were saying it was newly emerged, which maybe I believe if it was smaller.
Oh, right, okay.
Some sort of shake or something, but that's like a man-sized hole. That was
bigger than man-sized.
Yeah,
it's about a man
not
tall.
To be expecting it. So as far as I can tell, their entire strategy for spelunking was to wander around fields until they found a hole.
Yes.
But
because they want to find a new. I suppose you could say that maybe there'd been some kind of tremor or something, and they were trying to see that maybe.
That's the charitable. Interpretation,
I mean, just to clarify, that's not something the film tells us. That's me trying to explain.
No.
Trying to explain what could possibly have happened.
You could argue on the film's behalf.
Yeah, I'll play devil's advocate.
They go down the hole. I know spelunking is one of the more dangerous hobbies out there. Even by those standards, this seems incredibly unsafe.
They're slipping and sliding and very loose ropes hanging about. They do have helmets on.
They've got their one helmet with the headlamp. Yeah. That's what they're bringing to this.
Yeah.
So they go down the cave and they're like, "Wowie, this is a new cave. No one's ever seen anything like this before." And in fairness, bearing in mind that at this point the film's like one of those really well produced episodes of 1970s Star Trek. Like one where you can tell they really went all out. It's a nice cave.
It's a nice cave. It's not a real cave, is it?
No, it's still a styrofoam cave.
Yeah, but it's done just well enough that you have to ask, is it a real cave? You can tell it isn't, but you have to ask. It's not that poorly done, the cave.
No.
But you can't tell.
Anyway, they come to they come to the bottom of the cave and they sort of come to a hole and there's an underground stream.
Yeah.
And the three blonde 1960s lads whose names are, I think, Cliff, Charlie, and then one of the ones called like Malone or something.
Malcolm,
that's
I was going to say Malcolm, Chuck, and Richard. But I think it's Malcolm, Cliff, and what's the other one?
Charlie.
Right? Malcolm, Cliff, and Charlie, yeah. So Malcolm's very sensible and he says, I'm not going in that.
Malcolm's, I can quit when I'm ahead. I'm not going to go diving in an underground stream where we don't know where it goes for obvious reasons.
We've discovered this cave. The sub-aqua boys can go that way. And then Cliff and Charlie, especially Charlie, says, no, we've found a cave. We're not letting them get all the glory.
Yeah, those aqua boys take all the credit they do.
It's
we'll be part of history for discovering this one cave.
Mate, are you still stuck in the games there? Or too late the hero?
I genuinely thought for a second that the main actor of the games was in this film.
Oh, nice.
No, but
they're not Cockney, are they?
One of them's Cockney.
Okay, right.
I think it's Charlie.
Yeah. That's a recurring theme.
Anyway, Cliff and Charlie, they dive into the river a wee bit apart, and I think Cliff comes across the titular Trog who kills him.
Yeah.
But in the shadows, so you can't quite see what he looks like.
Yeah.
And then Cliff is grievously wounded, but manages to get back to Malcolm, who takes him to a local research lab run by Dr.
Brockton.
Brockton, that's it. It's just not quite Dr. Proctor, and
I
that
know.
always off.
What is Dr. Proctor?
Dr. Proctor went to Gloucester on a winter's day,
Right.
something, didn't get up. No,
Because I definitely recognize that, and I remember hearing it and being like, "What's that?" Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, he goes back to her, and Cliff's gone mad with terror at the sight of Trog, and but Malcolm, he's a good
Malcolm's
boy.
fine.
He's been working in university, and he's he knows of Dr. Proctor and her Dr. Brockton and her brilliant work.
He's
Um,
doing zoology,
Zoology,
and
yes.
she's an anthropologist.
Yes.
Not that either of those things matter at all, because the science is essentially totally ignorant of what those fields are. But just to set the scene,
we'll get onto
zoologist
the
and
science, my friend.
I'm sure we will, but just to set the scene, he's a zoologist, and allegedly she's an anthropologist. But yeah.
Which you would think would be completely unrelated films if it weren't for completely unrelated fields if it weren't for the exact premise of this film.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So Malcolm and her go down to the cave and they take a picture of Trog, and now they have proof. So the police inspector, who's he's on the case, he's not letting anything get in the way here. He's going to make sure this is all above board.
I don't think he's Cockney either, by the way.
No, I only know one English accent, Duncan. You gotta let me have this. Everyone's going to sound like this in this film.
A couple of them sounded kind of Scottish, though, don't you think?
What's the name of the land developer, Mr. Murdock?
Murdock.
Yeah. He was my favorite character.
Really?
Oh my god, he's so fucking fantastic.
Okay, well,
he's introduced in the next scene anyway.
Yeah, we'll get into him.
So the next scene, Dr. Brockton and Malcolm mount an expedition. They want to get Trog out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the police are all come down, the crowds all come around, someone's got a little hot dog stand set up. And then MVP of the film, Mr. Murdock, comes out and he's like, I won't have it. I won't have any of this creature here. He's he's wasting the taxpayers' money, just threatening our community. And this is what he will be saying for the remaining 1 hour and 15 minutes of the film.
He is a Daily Mail reader.
He's a Daily Mail reader who, I don't even know, is he the mayor or is he just some random guy?
No, he's a housing developer. He's a housing developer.
Yeah, he's just really pissed off about the fact that Trog exists. It's apparently driving down property prices.
Mm-hmm.
So he just complains about the taxpayers' money constantly.
Yeah.
And the livelihood of the community. Particularly during the court scenes that will come up later in this film, he constantly interrupts, constantly belittles. Never with anything more than the same two arguments.
Exactly, yeah.
On loop. He is a beautiful, beautiful man.
He has there's a religious side as well.
Is there?
Yeah, he says something about the first thing of God created man in his image, and this.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry to jump
monster.
ahead a bit, but there's a point where Trog's been captured and they're talking about whether to experiment them, and Mr. Murdock says that he can't be a man, he's clearly an animal because whatever commandment is, God made man in his image.
Yeah.
And then she says as a gotcha, but command number 2, thou shalt not kill, which first of all, as in don't kill Trog. First of all, that's not the second commandment. But more importantly, Trog has killed 3 people at this point.
Yes, more actually, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to keep count because obviously they don't focus on it that much. But as far as I can tell, Trog is not keeping well with God at this point.
I'll tell you why it's hard to tell, Jamie. It's because the way that he kills people is by bashing them gently over the head with a styrofoam rock. So it's very hard to tell whether they've been killed.
He either bashes them in the head with a styrofoam rock or sort of throws them off camera. And if they landed on grass, they'd probably be completely fine. But maybe they had a nasty landing on a stone.
Okay, so I feel like now that we're talking about this is a good time to talk about the guy that plays Trog. He's a professional wrestler.
Trog's costume is so shit.
Okay,
it's
let's not jump ahead. Let's not jump ahead here. Okay, or jump ahead. Go for
Trog's
it.
reveal anyway, because they go down the cave and then they bring out Trog.
Yeah.
And then we see him in all his glory.
So
and it's just a fat middle-aged man in a monkey mask.
Yeah. Okay, a couple of things. So number one, allegedly, That monkey mask was from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I believe it.
Parts of the
That's like,
costume, parts of the costume
the
were
mask
salvaged.
itself is bizarrely quite nice when like you get a proper good look at it. It's just
Yeah.
the weird effect of it just being on a guy in his underwear.
Yeah, so he's just in his underwear. He's a big lad in his underwear, with boots on, and like a actually really good mask.
Yeah.
Okay, but the guy that played Trog was a professional wrestler, which explains
Okay, that
why
makes sense.
the number way that he kills people is by like he suplexes he suplexes a diver at one point. When he first escapes, a diver goes in to get him, and then he like suplexes the diver in the water. And then when he breaks out the cave, he like lifts the guys above his head and like chucks them off camera,
Yeah.
right?
That's what he does, man. He's a chucker.
And he like hits people. I mean, the way he kills Charlie at the start is he just like bashes his body like boom, 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 and then Charlie's just dead from like a gentle beating. Yeah. So the guy that played Trog is quite funny. I watched an interview with him.
He
Seemed like a very nice chap.
Was it about Trog? Or...
Yeah. It was the only time he's ever appeared alongside the film and done an interview. Yeah, it was interesting. He didn't really say anything massively revealing, but he seemed like just a normal dude. But yeah, he was a wrestler, which is obviously why he was cast. Back to the way he kills people, it's just hilarious.
So in this fashion, he kills two men when emerging from the cave, and everyone runs away, including the hot dog stand guy. But Dr. Brockton, in a wonderful moment, Dr. Brockton is played by Joan Crawford. She's maybe like a 60-something-year-old lady. If you think of like Angela Lansbury in Murder, She Wrote, that sort of vibe. She goes back into her car and gets out a shotgun, cocks it, loads in a tranquilizer, and then shoots him in the face. It's great.
3 times.
3 times, baby.
Yeah. And then he goes down.
The best minute of the entire film.
So
really.
Joan Crawford, do you know her personally?
From what I was reading about, she seemed quite famous, but I don't actually know if I've seen her.
I recognized the name, and I thought, oh, Joan Crawford. I've definitely heard that name before, but I didn't recognize any of the films she was in. Apparently, this was her last one before her death in 1977. But no one knows how old she is.
Oh no, she was a star when she was young. That's so sad. Why is it every like Hollywood leading lady like in the early 1900s she was like super popular?
Yeah.
It's such a fucking sad life.
So yeah, well, first of all, no one knows when she was born. Her birthday is not on her birthday is on Wikipedia, but not the year.
Yeah, that is weird.
Which is bizarre.
Sometime 1990 question mark.
Oh, here we go. No, I found it. Maybe 1906, according to IMDb. Oh, it's on IMDb. I don't know why it's not on Wikipedia. Anyway.
Oh, because she registered at college, giving her year of birth as 1906, apparently.
Right.
But I guess they don't know. She must have been an orphan, I guess.
I guess so. No, because the Wikipedia thing talks about her parents. Her dad abused her.
Her father abandoned her.
Yeah, he abused her and something.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho, so she was a child, or not a child star, but a young star, and then no one would cast her in anything. And apparently, she was incredibly lonely in her last years, and she would write letters to the producer of this film and his wife, and he wouldn't respond because she had no friends. And there were a lot of rumors. There were a lot of rumors that she was drinking every day on set. But then the guy that played Trog said that she was very nice, and he didn't know she was drinking at all, and she bought gifts for everyone. So there's mixed.
Oh no!
There's a whole like mixed story behind this film, if you look into it, where like some people say that she's like really unprofessional and she was drunk all the time, and then there's other people that say she's really professional, really nice, and whatever. So it's interesting. She also brought a bottle of Pepsi Cola.
I love Pepsi
with her
Cola.
every day. Well, I think she was involved with the Pepsi Cola company.
Oh yeah, because there was actually the hot dog stand has Pepsi on it.
She was married to the company chairman and CEO of Pepsi. So she had brought Pepsi onto set every day, and there were rumors that it was vodka instead of Pepsi. So yeah.
Pretty cool by me.
Anyway, that's Joan Crawford. It seems very sad.
It always is.
But she was pretty good in this film.
Yeah, she does all right. I mean, nobody in this film does a good job because
No.
the characters can't support a good performance because
But-
they're all so ridiculous.
Exactly. But
you know,
apparently, regardless of whether you believe the stories about her being really nice or you believe the stories about her drinking a lot, apparently she really took the role seriously compared to everyone else, and like she was very acting very seriously and taking it very seriously, which is
I mean, I
interesting.
suppose she would have had to, but yeah.
Yeah, well, she's such a big actor.
Anyway,
Anyway,
they take Trog back to the lab. He's put in a metal cage.
Yep.
And they start debating whether they should kill him or experiment on him. No one suggests anything outside of those two options, which I feel is a bit fucked up. But
Yeah.
uh,
it's a sign of the times, Jamie.
yeah, I guess. I mean, I might as well talk about it now because I won't be able to talk about it for long, so it's not my expert. But obviously,
Right.
like with stories about like civilizing the savage, there are obviously like racial undertones to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, you know,
Yeah.
this film almost begins to step around by the fact that Trog is played by such a pasty white guy.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like it does. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still very clearly an example of that trope.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always in the background, but I think this film does pretty well at just avoiding it. Obviously, it doesn't in any way face up to that or try and correct that, but I feel like it doesn't play into it too much.
No, just to acknowledge that's there.
Yes.
And that this film spends very little time caring about what Trog actually thinks, feels, or anything like that.
Oh, the guy was called Bill that Trog
Bill.
kills, not Charlie.
Oh, cool.
So it's Malcolm, Cliff, and Bill. Okay, sorry, I was just looking at my notes there.
No, that's fair. Anyway, Mr. Murdock's like, as we said, you should kill that beast. He's driving down our property prices.
Yeah.
And Joan Crawford's like, no, we should, we need to study him, and in order to do that, we will be civilizing him.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense as a plan of study whatsoever.
No.
Like, it becomes clear that their plan for Trog is to teach him how to speak.
Yeah.
So that he can tell them what he remembers about his life.
Yeah.
Which is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the science in this film isn't taken that seriously, so it's hard to get too mad about. But just,
I mean, it's taken so. I was trying to work out what the general view on evolution or the general understanding of evolution was at this time,
yeah.
And whether this
I think
film
in
chose to
Britain
ignore
it was a lot less controversial.
because it was like I'm not talking about controversial. I'm talking about like she was like, oh, the apes walked out the forest, and we believe this guy's the missing link, which is obviously just not something that people just know didn't happen nowadays. You know, like, I feel there's a lot more knowledge nowadays about.
I think people just like talking about the missing link. Well, that's a classic idea. I don't know.
Well, that's true. To be fair, she herself as a character does say that she is putting it in ridiculously simple terms, to explain it to the inspector. So
the film does kind of hint towards it. Like, as you talked about, obviously Mr. Murdock is implied to be a religious man, and he hates him. And there's like a couple of points where Dr. Brockton's like, any sensible person accepts evolution now in a way which one could perhaps interpret as being passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the film takes a pretty firm pro-evolution stance. It's just a question of whether that is a stance of any meaning whatsoever.
Yeah.
Anyway, then the rest of the film is about Dr. Crawford sort of teaching Trog. Like, she gives him a wee dolly, a wind-up doll.
Yeah.
She and her daughter, who is there for some reason. She does nothing in the film. Yeah, she's just there.
Her daughter was an awful actress, by the way.
Her daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was just really bad. Like, all her lines, she was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I assumed when she came, and I don't mean to sound sexist or anything, but I just assumed that she was like the love interest, like the obligatory one.
Yeah.
And then that never happened. So otherwise, all she really does is sort of sit in the background during the scenes where Dr. Brockton's training Trog.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel they could have just saved some money and not had her in it.
Well, clearly they did save money because she wasn't a very good actress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Anyway, they teach Trog to play with a ball, and during this something disastrous happens. The neighbor's dog comes along,
Yeah.
and he and Trog get into a fight where the dog is clearly having a whale of a time.
Yeah.
Deeply happy doggo, as it's being
Yeah.
strangled by Trog. And they use this as evidence that Trog is an animal because he kills like an animal, which is, of course, the legal definition of animal is killed like an animal.
Of course.
This takes place in the background of a court's trial, which is determining whether Trog should be treated as an animal and as a dangerous animal and therefore killed, or should be given the rights of a human.
Mm-hmm.
A human child who's a bit slow, although Dr. Brockton uses the R word. In a way without malice, which is quite weird to hear in our current day.
That's what happened. That's have we not already had that in a film, or maybe it was another film I was watching from around this time where like they just said it straight out. Oh no, it was did you see that video of the Star Wars when it originally came out? And they were like interviewing people, and there's a guy that's like, "Oh, we showed it to a room of children, and they loved it." The blank bit is obviously the R word.
But yeah,
it was just used very casually at that time. Yeah.
Before it becoming, what would you say, poisoned or slurified?
That's just language evolving, I guess.
Which is just weird to hear.
But
the actual only interesting idea I would say this film has, which it doesn't really explore in any depth, is whether Trog should be tried as an animal or a human.
Yeah, for killing.
Reminds me a lot, actually, of talking about Star Trek. Still, it reminds me a lot of the episode "Measure of a Man."
Right.
Where decide if a robot man should have the rights of a human being or the rights of an object, as in none. And you know what? That's one of the best episodes of that show. It's fantastic. Right. These questions are really interesting. Trog is not interested in them, but they're there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the trials in this bit are just kind of strange.
Yeah. So.
No real.
Having seen quite a lot of legal stuff, which is obviously not accurate, but generally, judges like to keep control in their courtroom. I would say.
Yeah, basically every court scene starts off with Dr. Brockton saying, "Trog's doing swell, folks," and then Mr. Murdock says, "No, he's not. He's a blight on our community." Yeah. And the judge says, "Slow down, Mr. Murdock." And then he goes, "I think I'm going to side with Mr. Murdock on this one. Unless you show some real progress, Dr. Brockton."
Yeah.
And that happens about 3 times in the film.
And Mr. Murdock is not someone that should be able to speak. Because he's
Mr. Murdock is always in the gallery, should have been found in contempt of court at least twice by the end of the scenes, is asked to leave at one point but faces no legal ramifications.
But that's quite far in. So
yeah.
Generally what happens is the inspector will say something, which is fine because he's on one side. Then Dr. Brockton will say something, and then as she's saying it, Mr. Murdock will go, "Oh, fine," and then the judge will go,
"The taxpayer will not stand for this." The
judge will go, "Oh, please, could you be a bit quiet, please?" And then that's it. Yeah. And it's only after that's happened about 10 times that the judge is like, "Fine, eject him," which just seems like a bizarre switch in character.
Anyway, yeah. So the rest of this film passes in a sort of mush where it's really just scenes of Trog being trained and court scenes back to back.
Yeah.
One kind of interesting one is where Mr. Murdock invites down Dr. Brockton's like assistant or whatever, and like they go down to the pub and have a wee drink. They drink wine because they're pretentious shits.
Yeah.
And he says, "I wish there was a real man, a reliable man leading the lab instead."
Because Dr. Brockton's a woman.
Yeah, exactly. And then the assistant nods his head and says, "Yes, vital work is being ignored." And then the assistant speaks out against her at trial.
Which actually, for a film of the time, is almost forward thinking.
Well, I was about to say it's a progressive statement. It's a clumsy one, but it's well-meaning.
Dr. Brockton was meant to be a man, by the way. It was only because they cast Joan that they changed it.
Well, that's nice.
But they changed it, and they added in this scene to show how a woman in that position might be judged. So actually, it gets a tick on my inclusivity thing. Just a shame that the film's so wank. Or maybe it could be more recommended.
I mean, it's not this. It's definitely not the most subtle.
No.
But you can't fault it for intent.
You cannot.
it's the weird way he delivers the line. Like, if it was just like, I wish there was a reliable guy who was in charge of
Yeah.
it, and like you'd be like, oh look, he said guy. We
Yeah.
see his mask off, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that like he has to like
He's
emphasize,
like
I wish
us
there was a reliable man.
us men would know what to do better. If only there was a man in charge of that clinic that has a woman in charge of it.
Yeah.
That's sort of how
But,
it's done. But hey
Yeah.
ho, spaghetti.
Top marks for effort.
Yeah.
Actually, not top marks for effort because there's only one scene about it. But marks for effort.
Marks for effort.
Minus.
Yeah.
Anyway, they start bringing over some scientists from such foreign lands as France.
USA.
And they give Trog surgery against his will, I should say.
But he's an
although,
animal.
do I need
when
to?
it's convenient for them.
Yeah, to give him vocal cords as part of their master plan to unlock the secrets of the past.
And so at this point, we should clarify that this is not a case of this is some kind of evolutionary break that's been living in his cave. It's not a case of experiment gone wrong. It's not a case of a monster. It's a case of this Trog has been frozen.
He's been frozen in ice.
He's been frozen for thousands, millions of years. And what follows the surgery is possibly the dumbest fucking thing I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
Where they show him a slideshow.
Why don't you describe it, Duncan? Because I have thoughts.
Okay, so they show him a slideshow of dinosaurs, skeletons. Now, I just want to remind people that, for one, a Stegosaurus and a T-Rex lived further apart than we do from whatever the most recent one was, I think, from the T-Rex. So that's the first thing. They were never around at the same time, and actually they lived further apart. So just showing him random dinosaurs, regardless of what I'm about to say, is pointless. And even more so, there were no humans, or presumably nothing even close to a human, alive at the time of fucking dinosaurs. So the idea that he would see a dinosaur bone, because what they show is they show fossils. They show pictures of fossils from the dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
Now, if I was shown a fossil of a cow, a skeleton of a cow, I do not know if I'd recognize it. I'm going to look it up now. Cow skeleton. I don't know if I'd recognize that. That could be fucking anything. Right?
I mean, they're always talking about how like the projected images we get off like fossil records are always wrong.
Exactly. Literally, I'm looking at a cow skeleton, and yeah, you can tell it's a cow because I know it's a cow. But if I just saw that, I would think it was some kind of dog with horns. So them showing him skeletons is fucking stupid. Anyway, they show a dinosaur skeleton. He has no reaction. Dinosaur skeleton, no reaction. Then they show the third dinosaur skeleton, and suddenly his eyes light up, and the music goes woo. And then we cut to a stop motion dinosaur thing of like a T-Rex eating a Triceratops.
Yes, a lot of stop motion dinosaur fights here.
A lot of stop motion dinosaur fights, like a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes solid of dinosaur fights.
God,
now,
far too fucking much stop motion dinosaur fights.
Far too much. Now,
what's your opinion on stop motion dinosaur fights, Duncan?
Well, Jamie, if I had to guess, I would say those stop motion dinosaur fights were from 1956. And do you know what?
That's very specific.
That's funny because they are from 1956, Jamie. They're from a 1956 documentary. So there's just stock footage.
So just fucking stole the footage.
It's stock footage. It's dinosaur stock footage from a
Actually, more importantly, why was that in a documentary?
Well, exactly. Well, because, Jimmy, in the 1950s, they thought that dinosaurs looked like that and walked like that. These are the most inaccurate fucking dinosaurs. Like the sort of thing you see in King Kong. I
was literally about to say, I watched King Kong a month ago, and I think that film kind of sucks, at least now, because it's mostly stop-motion dinosaur fights, and they aren't impressive.
Yeah, well, it's very, very old, but yeah.
Through no fault of their own, of course. But yeah, my main criticism of King Kong as a film is too many stop-motion dinosaur fights.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add that bullet point onto my criticism of this film as well. It is also a film with too many stop-motion dinosaur fights.
The key thing for me is that they could have made their own stop-motion dinosaur fights, and I'm sure in the 1970s they would have looked pretty good, or at least pretty watchable. Like you think about Star Wars, the stop-motion in that, it's not bad. But this is from 1956, and it's from a nature documentary, so it's never going to be top tier. Why is it there? And why does Trog remember dinosaurs? He's a fucking humanoid. Oh my god.
It's just I feel. This is going to show my ignorance, and I apologize to any animator who ever listens to this. But like, these stop motion things they made those days are such low frame. Like, can't you just take more pictures, just to make it look a little smoother? I don't see why this is so impossible.
I don't know, Jamie. I don't know. Film's expensive, I guess.
It is, but
But
just.
I mean, far more.
You know what was fucking contemporaneous to this, roughly, on British TV? Postman Pat. That's a stop motion series. It looks fine.
Do you know what else was roughly contemporaneous to this?
Yeah.
2001: A Space Odyssey, Jamie.
Yes, but I feel Postman Pat is a closer budgetary comparison.
Probably,
than
but we
2001: A
already
Space
know. But we
Odyssey
already
to
know that he
Trog.
stole a costume from that. Why not just have him remember his family, and have him have two Trogs outside a cave going ooh 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 ooh, and then it's like, oh, they were sort of ape things. Why do they have to have dinosaurs fighting for 10?
They don't give you the dinosaur bucks, Duncan. Kids love them. That's what gets them in the seats.
Do you think so? Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think dinosaurs are more exciting. I think most people.
that's
would
true. But the stop motion is laughable. It's laughable.
Yeah, it's
quite
shit.
frankly. And the fact that he's remembering dinosaurs is just dumb, and it's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is dumb. Anyway.
What happens
after
next?
After this little break, we get to watch a lovely cartoon.
Sorry,
that,
quickly.
yeah.
But what does he say? I didn't write it down. Can you remember?
Oh, so Trog tries to speak afterwards, and he sees Anne, and he goes like.
Oh, so he doesn't say anything. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like roars that are sort of close to Anne, I think is
Okay.
what they're supposed to be.
Okay.
But like Trog never speaks properly in this film, by the way. Even though he has an operation to forcibly, I imagine, tear apart his throat, so he has vocal cords.
Exactly, and there probably was an ample moment for him to say something as well, like right at the end. We'll come on to that.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Why wouldn't I think anyone will know. Trog dies at the end of this film. Why wouldn't you just have him like go up and say like,
Iron.
or something like that?
Chewbacca. That's what he looks like as well.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Chewbacca.
Just imagine you're on Halloween night. You're dressing up as Chewbacca, but like, fuck, you spilled some red wine down your Chewbacca suit, man.
Yeah.
Got to take it off. But you haven't worn anything underneath your Chewbacca suit. Oh no!
Apart from a pair of wool.
Moment is
apart
the
from a
Trog
pair
costume.
of wool underwear.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got a Chewbacca costume, and your boots are hard wearing, and to get the full experience, you put on some wool underwear as well. You put the head on, and as you put the head on, you spill your drink all down your torso and trousers. Thankfully, the boots are hard wearing, so you can keep them on, and the head you've just put on, so it's fine. But you have to take the top and the bottoms off, and that you have got Trog. Just by
you have
imagining
become Trog.
You have become Trog, and you can use that for your Halloween costume as well. It's a lot more original, to be fair. Although I imagine a Chewbacca costume is pretty.
You'll be incredibly fucking cold in October in Trog's costume, and you will have a lot of people asking you who the fuck are you supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true. Apparently, I've just looked up Trog, and apparently it's a Fortnite skin as well. So people might.
Wait, it's not presumably a tie-in to this film.
No, not a tie-in to 1970s Trog. You know, this Trog is blue and looks kind of like the Crazy Frog, actually.
I love that guy.
Bing bing.
Beverly Hills Cop's come out. When are we gonna get that? It does look a bit like the Trogs, not the Crazy Frog.
It does. There's also apparently Trog Wanderers in Skylanders, as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've gone a billion miles off topic here.
Oh yeah. So at this point, I think the court's pretty cool with Trog, because he can speak. Again, not referencing any legal test actually.
So he's a human now, but somehow
he's not being that cage, baby.
Somehow he's not being tried for like the 5 murders he's committed.
It's slightly strange. Like I would say, like obviously the correct answer, not obviously, the correct answer to the situation would presumably be to try Trog as you would like a mentally unsound person, and you know, stick him in an asylum or whatever, which is basically the same, you know, as going to jail. But like they just decide nobody really is that. No one in the entire film's really that bothered about the murders he does before.
No.
And you know they're just kind of annoyed that because he's scary.
Yeah.
But he stays in the cage, and then Mr. Murdock, in the plan of the century, comes out, drives up in the night. He walks up to Trog. He smashes about the lab a bit.
He
then
bonks.
unlocks the
He bonks
cage
his guard.
and leaves.
He bonks a guard on the head as well.
Yeah.
He goes bonk,
but,
and then he sneaks in.
I don't know what his plan was, because all he does is he goes into the lab, he throws some bottles on the floor, and he says, "Now they'll say Trog gets angry," and then he unlocks the cage and leaves. Whereas one would assume, given that his plan is to have Trog killed, now would be a good time to do so.
Yeah.
But no, he's just like Trog, who has had temper tantrums throughout this film.
Yeah.
When they find that Trog has knocked over some bottles, they'll have to kill him.
Yeah.
It's
and then what happens,
a bizarre moment for Mr. Murdock.
Then what happens?
Mr. Murdock, much like in the acclaimed film Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, gets behind the wheel of his car and turns it on, and then Trog leaps down and he bashes him.
Yeah.
And beats him, and then Mr. Murdock very conveniently leans on the horn so that
everyone knows.
Dr. Brockton and et al. Can come down and see Trog killing this guy. So Trog runs off into the night.
Yeah, this is a bashing kill. Not a throwing kill and not a rock kill. This is one of his 2 bashing kills. I think he only does 2 bashing kills in the film.
Mm-hmm. It's very special.
Yeah.
But not as special as what's coming up. Because you knew what was going to happen when we had Trog locked up next to the quintessential English village. We all knew what was going to happen. So it's time for Trog's rampage through the town.
Total rampage. Early morning.
Hooray.
Early morning.
Baby.
There's 2 people out. There's a butcher and there's a greengrocer, Jamie. That's
you
how
are
early
going
it
to
is.
see the chaos that can be unleashed by a man who's slightly stronger than a normal man.
Exactly. He goes to the greengrocer and he bonks the greengrocer on the head and kills him.
Oh god.
And
then
you think that's brutal?
A car.
He flips a car and it explodes. Actually.
Yes,
which is
the most
insane.
Thing he does, and still not that impressive.
Not that impressive, but kind of insane. And then he goes to the butcher, and in an uncharacteristically brutal way, he hangs the butcher up on a meat hook.
Yes,
which is just because every other person he's killed thus far is like, okay, he's overwhelmed, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's bashed him. But he looks at the butcher in the eye. He looks at the pigs that are hung up, and he grabs the butcher and hangs them on the hook, and then leaves. And the guy's screaming.
The pacing of those shots is bizarre.
Yeah.
Because Trog, you get, looks at the meat hooks, looks at the butcher. Okay, we know what's going to happen. Then you get Trog. He picks up the butcher, walks over to the meat hooks. The camera shifts a little, so the meat hook's hidden by a chicken.
Yeah.
But we see Trog putting the man up. We know what's happening. It's just blocked because special effects, blah blah blah. Those are expensive.
Yeah.
But then it shows Trog leaving, and then entirely separately, it does a slow pan, suspense filled up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god,
he's been hung.
Him on a meat hook. Can you believe it? Who could have thought this was happening when he shifted the butcher up by a meat hook?
I thought, okay, they're going for a rating. A certain rating, they don't want to show a guy getting stabbed through a meat hook, and then they just show it anyway. But they don't show it happening; they just show it after it's happened.
They show it after you already know what's happened as a shocking reveal.
Absolutely bizarre.
Anyway, then Trog goes down to a children's play park, which looks remarkably similar to the play parks that exist today, which in a way that does not speak to me very well about current council budgets.
Political.
But anyway, Trog, if you remember, I very subtly, in a very cool way, just sort of sprinkled in as part of a list that one of the exercises they did with Trog was training with a little doll, dear listener.
That's right.
I did that to look after your excitement, because now I am going to shoot off my Chekhov's gun and tell you that Trog looks down for a suitable child to be like the doll, and he steals one from the slide. And the children in the scene are real shit, frankly. Appalling actors, all of them. I'm sure you'd agree, Duncan.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the people in the film are.
True. Actually, that's to be fair. The children are up to par.
Yeah.
But they're still really shit at looking at a monster and running away.
Yeah. And then they go. Yeah.
Anyway, then Trog takes the young girl down to the cave and he tries to look after her, and it's like, oh, isn't it sad? Don't we love Trog?
Yeah.
I personally never held any emotions towards Trog throughout the entirety of this film.
He's quite brutal.
Yeah. Anyway, then they call the fucking army.
Yeah.
At least 40 men. I think a bit more to get one guy who again is just slightly stronger than a regular guy.
Yeah.
Um,
But they don't want any more deaths, Jimmy.
yeah, and then they just kind of shoot Trog and stick him on a
Wait,
stalactite.
That's not
He
true.
dies.
That's not true, Jimmy. Joan goes down. 'Cause
Oh,
she's not
yeah,
supposed to go down. She goes
rescues the
down.
child. I
And
was
she
trying to remember
rescues
what
the
she did.
child, and then she goes, "Look, I can reason with Trog." And the army guy goes, "Get out of here!" And then they blow a hole in the cave, and they go down and they shoot Trog, and he falls in a stalactite or stalagmite.
Stalactite.
Stalactite. Thank you.
The inspector has a little thematic speech, which would be fine if it wasn't so bizarre. Where he's like, maybe you scientists can find a balance between life and progress, but for us regular folks, it's all got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And he walks off.
Bizarre.
This film has a weird thing about how apparently scientists are treated differently from no one else in society understands scientists and their struggle.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure is true.
Weird.
But
so
the film sucks.
It does suck. So okay, something that we forgot to mention is when Malcolm says he goes to university, the guy goes, "Oh, you go to university, so was this just some kind of university prank that your friend just died? Was it a prank?" And it's like, obviously not. Like
nah. You ever read about accounts of universities from the 60s and 70s? They had nothing else to do. They just did hoaxes.
They just did hoaxes. Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's like they all think that they're trying to cover up a prank gone wrong by claiming the Trog is a guy, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
What else have I got written down here?
So this film apparently has a cult reputation for being so bad it's good.
I disagree. I think it's so bad it's bad.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of so bad it's good films. This, as with many of them, runs into the problem that after the sort of first half hour where you sort of gotten over the shock of what it is, you are forced to watch the remaining hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really boring, as most bad films are. I would say almost all of them, with a couple notable exceptions. The thing about comedy is that it kind of has to build up, and when you're doing it accidentally, you can't do that.
Yeah. So I actually wrote down 40 minutes in, I am now very bored. 20 minutes left, and the opening is the best bit by far, which I want to talk about. The opening of this is incredible.
I love the letters, the font, it's great.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
I genuinely really enjoyed the first 10 minutes of this film.
Just in the cave.
In the cave. The tension was really good.
Yeah.
There was no music, there were just like sound effects, and I kept expecting like something to come around the corner. There was like the cinematography was very eerie. So the guy that directed
the cinematography is bizarrely okay in the cave.
Amazing, especially in the opening. The whole film is well shot, but the opening especially, the cinematography is really good. You've got like stalagmites, stalactites in the foreground and the people in the background.
I'm gonna try and figure out who actually directed it.
Do you want to know? I've got it here.
Yeah, Freddie Francis.
Freddie Francis, who is a cinematographer.
Yeah, and he's won two Academy Awards.
Well, he was a cinematographer for The Elephant Man.
Holy shit, really?
And for June.
Holy shit, you're right.
And for Glory. And for Cape Fear. So he's a really good cinematographer.
Yeah.
He was also a cinematographer for Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, which is a very good film. I'd recommend it. From around this time. That was his last film as like DP. And then he just never really made it as a director. He got sort of type directed as a kind of horror director.
Yeah, I can see looking at what's
if you look at what he's directed, but he's that's why the cinematography is so good. When I say that the opening scene is very good, I'm not joking. I found it very tense, and the cinematography was really, really nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna admit to a little like intellectual dishonesty here, where I was like, I watched particularly the cave stuff, where there's a lot of like nicely framed stuff, and I was like, I think the cinematography here is quite good. I'm not going to mention this because this clearly must be terrible cinematography, and I just can't tell.
No, it was really good.
But yeah, it's quite good.
It was really good. It was all like little pans and stuff, and everything was framed. I mean, I think the frame was the ultimate thing. Everything was framed very well.
The issue is like obviously like the sets are really bad and you can't quite.
But I didn't even think the sets were that bad until you'd seen them a lot. Like I feel like they worked.
Yeah.
They actually worked in that opening scene. It was just once they were in the cave again and again and again, you're kind of like, okay, I get it. It's a cave. I can see it's not quite right. But yeah, it was Yeah, he's a cinematographer, and he's a very good one at that. He's done a lot of films.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's genuinely good stuff. His best June film, I say, not knowing what the other one looks like.
I don't know. Well, yeah, he's done quite a lot of David Lynch.
Well, no one does. Oh, yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
yeah, I wouldn't say this film holds much water as a so bad it's good film.
No, it's so bad it's bad. For me.
I think it's worth checking out just for a bit because but once the scene where Trog emerges from the cave is really the best bit from that angle.
Exactly.
And scene would be the best, non-ironically.
So if we're talking about watching, I'm gonna put it in don't watch. But
I was gonna say watch if it's on, but only for a bit, which I know isn't an actual rating.
Well, I'm saying don't watch, but I'm saying if you can find the opening 10 minutes, you would get the scary cave bit, and you'd get the hilarious bit where he breaks out, which does fit into the so bad it's good thing. But I wouldn't stick. I guess actually maybe you could say watch if it's on and then just give up. Partway through.
That's really what I'm trying to say.
But I don't really know. Because I genuinely would not watch it through. Like, if I wasn't doing it for this, I would have stopped watching because it was just really boring.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I hated watching this.
Yeah.
After a while.
It's just so predictable.
I mean, it's got nothing new to it. It's
like at the start, this first scene that I keep going on about, I was like, oh, is this going to be like this kind of underappreciated horror gem? And then there's just no more horror. I kept expecting horror. I kept saying him to break out or I don't know, just something, or more of it to be set in a cave.
If you're so bad it's good buff, if you like bad films, I think it's worth checking out just because it might work for you.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't count on it.
Who else has it got on it? It's got Michael Gough, who plays Murdock, and he was in the Batman films. The
which ones?
Burton Schumacher ones.
Okay.
He was in 4 Batman films, the Burton ones and Schumacher ones. And he was also the Dodo in Alice in Wonderland. He seems to have worked with Tim Burton a fair bit. Which is cool.
Who was he playing?
Murdock.
Oh yeah, he did seem like an actual actor, not to be dismissive.
So he was in Batman, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, Batman Returns, and he was also in Sleepy Hollow. Is that
Oh, that's my mum's favorite film.
Is that a Tim Burton film?
Yeah, that's Tim Burton.
Yeah, and Corpse Bride is Tim Burton. Alice in Wonderland is Tim Burton, and then
Tim Burton.
The other one seemed to be kind of similar. A film called Konga, but spelt K with a K. That seems like a King Kong kind of thing. Ooh. Dracula film, horror, something. So a lot of that kind of thing. But yeah, he's been in a few things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a lot. Cool. Oh, he was in A Christmas Carol in 1984. But I don't know who has. There you go.
Very cool. Very cool. Very, very, very cool.
Anything else about the film? Let me look at my notes. There's a nice little bit of foreshadowing where someone says, "Go ahead, it's your funeral," and then the guy dies.
Is that? I guess.
I think Malcolm says it to Bill before he dives down.
Yeah.
They say that Trog is not a carnivore, and then they feed him fish and lizards. So
yeah, obviously he's pescatarian.
Can pescatarians eat lizards, mate?
I don't know.
I don't think they can. There's a few cliche kind of things in it, like Dr. Brockton says to her daughter, "Never show fear, only trust," which is like I feel like something you see in all these like Planet of the Apes. This film kind of felt a bit Planet of the Apes as well. Would you say? The new ones.
But I think the obvious template for this film is King Kong, as in basically the same.
Actually, yeah, King Kong even more than Planet of the Apes. I was thinking about the recent Planet of the Apes, but yeah, King Kong. Like if you show love to these beasts, they'll give it back. That was kind of the main cliche theme thing. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
I'm actually not glad I saw it. Frankly, I would have been fine without doing so.
There's so many other campy horror cult
Yeah,
films.
watch Troll 2. It's so fucking good.
Watch
if you're in the mood
Watch
for it.
Trolls 2 World Tour.
That too, but I genuinely the best so bad it's good film. Speaking as someone who has seen my fair share, is Troll 2.
I've never seen it.
Good recommendation. It's so good. We're watching it sometime. It's so fucking good.
I was thinking of that. What's that film where there's like the giant trolls? It's like a found footage film.
Oh, no clue.
Troll Hunter from 2010. I'm not recommending it, but I thought that might be what you were talking about.
No.
I can't even
Troll 2
remember. I can't even remember.
Troll 2
it was
came out in
good.
1990, which is
Oh.
actually not that surprising. But,
Oh, maybe I should watch Troll Hunter again. It looks kind of interesting.
watch Troll 2. It's on Prime Video. You can watch it easy.
Okay. Well, but we have to watch it together
Okay, that's true.
if you want me to.
Yeah, we will.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else you want to talk about this? Have you been up to anything else?
I spent this weekend, not this weekend, this week.
Alone.
I have, but very low. Nah. I've been watching a lot of Taskmaster on UK TV Play.
Oh yeah, you were saying.
Watched through the first 4 series now over the past week.
You've watched the first 4 series in the past week.
Yep.
Nice.
It's
pretty
pretty fan dabby dozy.
pretty good.
I would rank the series as follows. I would say the 3rd series is the worst that I've seen with Al Murray, Dave Gorman, Paul Chowdhury, and others. Who else is in that series? Sarah Pesco and Rob Beckett. I would then I'd say the 4th series with Mel from Sue and Mel, Noel Fielding, Lolly. Who else is in that one?
Joe Lycett, Hugh Dennis.
Yeah, Joe Lycett and
Have I seen that one?
Joe Lycett and who was this?
Oh, Doc Bowman's in season 2.
Dennis. And then I would say the 2nd series is the second best with Richard Osman, Catherine Ryan, Doc
that's
Brown,
definitely good.
John Richardson, and
Joe Wilkinson.
one other, Joe Wilkinson, yes. And
Well,
then
that
I'd
one
say I
does look
actually like the
good.
1st series the most, which I just finished this afternoon, which has
Skinner. Sorry, I'm.
Frank Skinner, Ramesh Ranganathan, Josh Widdicombe, Tim Key, and Roisin, whatever her second name is.
Yeah.
But Taskmaster's fun. I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna start the 5th series this evening, which has Bob Mortimer in it. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a good time. Very funny. Lights up my dark days.
Which ones have I seen? I've seen Series 7.
That's very
8.
popular because it has James in it.
Yeah, and Jessica Knappett. It's funny.
Mm.
Phil Wang. I love Rod Gilbert. He's really funny. And I've seen season 8. Oh, season 8's got Joe Thomas in it, which is season 8's good. Season 8's good. And the guy from The Chase, Paul Sinha.
Oh
is
yeah.
in season 8. Season 8's a good one. And then I don't think I've seen season 9, or I might have seen part of season 9, not all of it.
Yeah, series 10 starts this autumn. They revealed the cast. Sorry.
The tasks.
2 days ago. Do you want me to tell you who it is?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, I'm gonna look up the list surreptitiously because I don't remember all the names.
Okay.
But Johnny Vegas is probably the big one.
That's not very nice, Jimmy.
And Catherine
That's not very
Parkinson
nice.
from the IT crowd. Jen from the IT crowd is in it. Then it's Richard Herring from the Leicester Square podcast, and also those columns on the Metro.
Right.
And then Daisy May Cooper, who's been in a lot of things people say is quite good. They say she's very funny. I've never seen her or anything. And then a comedian called Mawan Rizwan, I think, who's a bit more obscure. But it's usually the obscure ones who are pretty funny on Taskmaster. So it seems like a good cast to me.
Oh, I have to
This
say,
is moving to Channel 4.
I'm not super familiar with any of them, I don't think.
Oh, you must know Johnny Vegas.
Oh, Johnny Vegas, sorry, yeah. But other than that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You have never watched IT Crowd?
Nope.
No. Oh, I mean, don't do it now because the creator's horrible. But
okay. But you need to separate the art from the artist, Jimmy.
True, but IT Crowd is very explicit in its transphobia. It's not like you can ignore it.
Right.
Its views are on show.
Okay. Well, maybe I should, because I've only seen 2 seasons of Taskmaster, so maybe I should watch.
Yeah, well, like I say, UK TV Play is free.
Yeah.
So you can watch literally every season of it for free.
Of course.
So I'd recommend watching it. It's been a fun time. Um, Other than that, I started playing The Witcher 3,
Right.
which is a good game. I like it. Yeah, controversial opinions.
Indeed. Well, yeah. While I was away, went to the beach and stuff. It was nice.
Cool.
Um, well, the last couple of days I've been trying to play Planet Coaster, um,
Yeah.
and I just haven't been able to get into it. I bought a couple of
Oh.
DLCs as well, just to sort of expand the game, and I don't know. I just haven't been. I don't know, because I thought since I've been playing City Skylines, I thought maybe I could get back into some of the games I used to play, and obviously these games are the sort of thing that once it clicks, you'll be really going at it, but it's not clicked yet, so
Yeah.
I
You need
keep playing
to.
it for a bit and then just saying I'd rather do something else, and I just do something else. So I'm sure at some point I will play it again because I used to love Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, but we'll see. Currently not really playing anything, but I'll let you know when something grabs me by the balls and pulls me into my PC.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll
Loving
happen.
a bit of CBT here on the Golden Talkies.
A bit of what?
A bit of
Oh,
CBT.
Call Torture, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anyway, on that note, shall we call it a wrap?
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Keep this mini-sode short. Were you annoyed about the last episode?
Yes, very.
So the last episode was supposed to the last episode, Jamie told me he said you better call it mini-sode. It'll be really funny because it's the same length as the other ones. And then I called it a mega-sode, which I found even funnier because not only is it the same length as the other ones, but it also means I annoyed Jamie, but he wasn't very happy. Um, it's quite good though. No? Have you? Okay, apparently Jamie stopped recording, so you're just gonna hear me talking. Okay, well, bye everyone. Have you actually stopped? Alright, okay, bye everyone. I hope you enjoyed.